this before, but do you see the sign?
Mm-hmm.
It's on.
Everybody should get a message that we are recording.
Got it.
Right. Okay, I want to start to show you this. These are the buttons we made for our first conference MedTalks is going to attend. I just wanted to share that news. We are still so excited about it. We're going to be on the conference in October in Mulhouse in France. And we're just really, really excited and started to do some merch, which we can then give our followers, which we hopefully find there, or new ones we will make there. So yeah, that's just a side note. Then
sorry to interrupt you. I would like to thank you, first time comers, long time comers. It's all because of you that we were invited to this huge translation conference, medical translation conference in France, because without our MedTalks with Doris and Kathrin wouldn't exist. So thank you all for helping us with that. It's a huge achievement for us, really. Thank you. Go on, Kathrin.
And also for sharing. And we made, I just figured it out today, in like not even 10 months, we made 2,000 followers. And that's quite it's a really cool feeling, actually. So yeah, we are happy about it. And that's why I keep, pushing MedTalks forwards, because I see that people are interested and people want to learn and connect. And it's just a pleasure, really, for me.
And our healthcare community of professionals and linguists, healthcare linguists, is something really important. We had never seen it before, and so strong as we are. So thanks again to you, MedTalkers. Without you, we wouldn't be here. Thank you. You are huge collaborators, and it's always amazing to have you with us and exchanging ideas and experiences. Kathrin, take it away.
Well, let's start the actual topic. You've seen it now for almost 15 minutes already, or even longer. We want to talk about how to train medical language skills. All of you, or I'm sure all of you know about it already. You're no newbies. But even when I wrote a post about this on my homepage, which I shared the link to, I started to realize, because I come from I have almost 20 years experience as a nurse. So medical language for me is like second nature. I started reading medical books as soon as I could read. I remembered that yesterday when I was talking to Anna, that even my grandma, she had books and I had migraines, and I would read in her self-guidance books, what kind of illness there could be. So when I was 8, I was certain I had a brain cancer, a brain tumor. So that's where my medical language journey started. I'm doing this for now almost 30 years, actually more. I started when I was 6 in the Red Cross. So medical language for me is normal, but I kept getting questions about how do you learn medical language when you're like not out of the field? And honestly, I was like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. How would you actually do that? Okay, and then I get into it, and I started to research and found tips and tricks how to do it, and I wrote a blog post about it. And so we decided to make this our topic for today. You are all welcome to share your own insights into this, of course. So I tried to split it into 7 points, but actually it's way more than that. And I will not talk about everyone in particular, but yeah, just to get an idea about it. Of course, you have to build up a medical vocabulary. And how can you do that? There is so many different ways to do it. I would suggest prefixes, suffixes, root words, like it is. We all know you can have so many different itises. When you read something with itis, you know it's something about inflammation. When you read something with cardio, you know it's something to do with your heart. when you need, there's so many prefixes, etc., which you can get into it, and then you can like a medical term is always many terms actually, and then you can like kind of disclose different terms and split the word in different terms. Yes, Doris.
Something to say about prefixes and suffixes. People who come from a Latin language based, that is me, I speak Portuguese, I'm native in Portuguese, and I speak Spanish, French, and Italian, which are also Latin-based languages. So for us, we speak these Latin languages. It's easier because most suffixes and prefixes, they come from Latin or Greek, and we learned that in school. And since they are dead languages, like Old Greek and Latin, they are dead languages, it's easier because they will never change. And that's the reason why researchers and medicine and all scientific fields in general use Latin and Greek to name new things they discover or to refer to terms in general, because these languages will never change. And that's it. Go on. Anyone wants to say anything? Feel free.
Makes a lot of sense, Doris. Thank you. So get to the prefixes, suffixes, root words. You can always use ChatGPT to ask ChatGPT, for example, give me all kinds of medical prefixes and their meanings. And then, of course, you have to see if that is right. You have always to check if he made up things, but you kind of have a frame where you can start because some or many prefixes you don't even know maybe. So how do you like get into it if you don't know them? So ask ChatGPT, it's quite helpful to just get a frame where to start. What I also found is Anki and Quizlet. I don't know, does anybody know them? There are platforms where you can work with flashcards. You can make them yourself, just take a piece of paper and, write one term on this side and one term on the other side. But this is kind of
old school
fun. Yeah, I know, with a pen and a book. I do that too. But I really, really like the Anki or Anki. I don't know how to pronounce it really. When you go into my blog post about the tips, then you will find a link to that, to those platforms as well. They are hyperlinked there. So this is really, really helpful. And even I learn everyday terms, which I didn't know before. Of course, I work a lot with clinical trial material, which I didn't when I was working as a nurse. So I do like learn those terms as well, new. And you always keep learning in your career or in your life, basically. Yeah, next point is read medical literature. I started to follow pharmacy groups on LinkedIn. And I read, of course, my whole life I have been reading patient reports and medical stuff. There are books for nurses and doctors where you can educate yourself. Go out, find some books which are interesting for you, and stay up also with pharmacy groups because up to date, because there is so much change every time. And if you work with clinical trials, you should kind of, or it's just nice to know what's going on the market. And then, by the way, you're also training your language skills. So I can just really, advise you to do that. Break down complex words. That kind of fits to the prefix suffix topic. Sometimes you have words you're just like, what? And then just try to break it down and find your way to interpret it or to translate it.
I would like to say something on that. I previously I was a language teacher, I was a language tutor. So as tutors, as language tutors, and as tutors in general, we need to know what are the learning portals of our students and of course of ourselves. So for instance, some people learn by reading, some people learn by writing, some people learn, that's my case, I'm learned by listening and watching. My learning portals are auditory and visual. So how do I learn? Because as an interpreter, I need to have it all in my memory when I'm speaking to a doctor, when I'm speaking to a pharmacist, a nurse, practitioner, etc. We don't have much time to search for, terminology, because OPI is too quick, and also in simultaneous in a medical conference, we don't have time to search. And also, as being neurodiverse, I have this issue with multitasking. So if I'm hyper focused on a call or on a conference, I cannot open multiple tabs to search. So how did I learn all these terms? Just like Kathrin, I was a natural. Ever since I was a child, I was really interested in graphic medical documentaries, open surgeries and everything, and serial killer stuff and police stuff, because OPI involves all that, not only medical, but also police, immigration, banks, etc. I'm not even really interested in banks, but it's part of it. But I was always interested in immigration and police investigation and graphic medical content ever since I was a child. So when I started, and I still do it every day now, I watch lots of series and documentaries because I listen and I watch. So that's how I absorb the content. That's how I learn. So you have to know about your own learning portals. Yes, flashcards are visual. If you have visual learning portals, flashcards are good for you. If you need to write it down. And it's been proven that writing with a pen or pencil, you absorb much more than typing on a computer. Yes, because you use more cognitive areas of your brain when you're writing down with your hand and a pen. Yes, so for me, it's by watching and listening. Anyone has anything to say?
All right, and let's move on. Thank you, Doris.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome that
Zia wants to talk.
Zia, yes.
Yeah,
Open your
thank
mic,
you so
Zia.
very much. If I talk about the learning points of my medical terminologies and how I became interested in medical, by the time we were like in the school, our parents used to buy tablets or the medication. They used to tell us that what is this medicine for. Then we didn't know about the medication because it was medical and we were in the school by the time. But then I started learning and reading a small kind of papers there when it comes with the medication. There it used to like there they the medical terminologies and the diseases, everything could be mentioned there, like contraindication of the medication and indication of the medication, when it should be given, when it should not be given, and what is this medication for. And then I started reading them slowly and gradually. Then one of my friends, when I reached to class 10, one of my friends has suggested me that why don't you take admission in medical college there. When I went there, so I got admission in dental, and I started doing my dental. 2 years I have done my diploma there, and there our doctors, they helped me a lot with learning medical terminologies and everything, especially like we had doctors, Dr. Obaid, who used to teach us especially about the dental, Dr. Nurjan, who used to teach us about dental, like dental material, these things, and Dr. Mashar, who used to teach us pharmacology and everything. So I have learned so many things from them, and then I got very interested. And for the medication, then I heard one of my friends, he was a doctor, I mean the neurologist, and he used to start teaching me like the medication, that what is this medication used for and what formula it is. But since then I have started learning more and more. Now I'm like I'm doing very well, and whenever whoever brings me the medication, I understand that what is this medication for.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
too think I said that to a few people who asked me, doing an internship in a hospital or practice or ambulance service, wherever, can like boost up your language skills so much. Yes, it is for free, and yes, you might work 2 or 3 weeks, whatever you can like or want, but you will learn so much medical language there because you will like bathe in the language. And I can just really, and people usually are really happy when other people come and want to work for free. So if you go to a hospital and you say, I really would like to learn some medical language because I'm an interpreter or translator, could I just follow around? They won't say no. I don't think so. And just offer your help as well, of course, not just standing in the way. Yeah. Yes, Mariana.
About that, one thing that I usually say when I talk about this, that people get really, get surprised when I say this. At least in Portugal, you can do this. If you know you have, for example, a relative who's attending medical classes in some kind of degree college, etc. If you go there and if you go to the professor and ask, can I look, I'm a translator, I want to know more about medical terminology for my job, I'm very interested, etc. Can I attend the classes? Usually, if you are interested, people will say yes, and people will do that and will be very happy that you were there. At least that's my experience in Portugal. I know in some countries this is not exactly because of tuition and financial and aspects, but in Portugal this is very welcome. If you're there, you're there with 150 other students, so it's not one more that's going to make a difference, and people are happy to help in general. And I say this as a lecturer as well, because I was a lecturer, an invited lecturer to in nuclear medicine for 5 years. So if I had a person that would come up to me and say, I want to know more about nuclear medicine, can I attend your classes? Of course. Just the more the merrier, I think.
That's a really good tip, actually. I will write that into my post as well, because that's awesome. I would not have thought about that.
That's amazing, Mariana. Like you were from both sides, yeah. So that's really generous of you when you were a lecturer, like letting people in, and also like going after lecturers to let you in as well. This is amazing, great tip.
Thank you for that contribution. I think we should just go on a little, and then we can just stay in a discussion. Improve your reading comprehension. I mean, we all know it. I think the first pharmacy study we read, we're like, okay, in English, it's like, wow, a lot to digest. Every article you read is going to get easier, and you will understand the language more, and you also get into a flow of this kind of language. I personally really like to break this language down for patient-facing content, because I do know how it feels to read the medical content and be like a little overwhelmed. That's just a side note. How can you improve your comprehension? You can always, as I said, read lots of articles in these online resources, Medline Plus, UpToDate, PubMed. You will find a lot of incredible resources. PubMed, I think it was PubMed, also has a section just for medications. You can Google all find all the medications on Earth there, and they will be explained, and you will see how they are written and stuff. So I really, really like that. PubMed and Medline Plus is just as good. You will find lots and lots of articles to read, and then break it down for yourself, summarize it, and write it down. That's one way how you can improve your reading comprehension.
I just shared 3 very important links that you can check there. I use them on a daily basis. It's drugs.com. You must know that as translators. Maybe interpreters don't know much, but drugs.com is amazing. And you also have the second one that is A to Z Conditions. It's by the NHS. And also a conversion calculator, because we need to work converting pounds to kilos and ounces to whatever. So this calculator is amazing, very quick to use. It has all sorts of measures. This A to Z Conditions is related to the UK mostly, but you can use it wherever. And drugs.com, well, pharmacology at its best, at its prime. It's on the chart.
Awesome. Perfect. I will directly bookmark those. I hope that I get to share these later on as well, or maybe you can share them underneath the link we will write, the post we will write about this meeting, because that's a really, really good resources as well. Thank you. Does anybody else have any ideas how to improve your reading comprehension? Otherwise, we just keep going. Practice writing in medical context. Yeah, write medical summaries. That's kind of the same what I said before. Get something out of the internet, write it short, break it down, write it into easy language, plain language if you want. And then if you are allowed to do it, it's due to copywriting, copyrights not always allowed, but you can find it out. Then you can also use it on your portfolio. If you have a website, have a portfolio, maybe you take one article and then you translated it into your target language, and that's how you can easily build a portfolio. Usually, when it comes to translation, it is okay to take an article from a website and translate it and publish it on your page, as long as you refer to that article. You just have to really make clear it's not yours. You got it from there. If you want to be really, really sure, ask those ones who published it first. But it's a good way to show what you can, especially when you're new into a field. Follow writing guidelines, AIMA and APA style. I think the translators here will know about it. If not, you can Google it, or that's different kinds of styles how you write, and you will also find where and when to use it. This is actually more for medical writers as for medical translators, which is why I'm not going too deep into this. What did you just post, Doris?
I just remember this YouTube channel, Med Circle, is amazing for those who work on psychiatry and psychopharmacology. That are 2 of my expertise areas. And it's also auditory and visual. It's amazing. We're all gonna share that on the post we're gonna make after this meeting.
Yes, that leads me to the 4th point, because it says, listen to medical podcasts, lectures, YouTube channels. This is how you get your audio, visual. Yes, exactly. And when you on YouTube, and you all know the algorithm of YouTube, you like some medical channels, and then you will get more and more medical channels in your feed. So that could also help. And yes, series, Doris said that before, you can watch series. I mean, it's often really ridiculous what happens there, but the language is there anyway. So it's a little over the top, and of course sometimes weird, but the medical language is there, and you can try to read in your target language, like watch it in English and have the subtitles in your target language, in your own language, then this way your brain like kind of connects those terms with each other. And medical terms are often, especially in Swedish and German, because it's all like kind of one of the same language group. They're kind of similar. It's just endings which are different because, as Doris said, it's a Latin language. So they are more or less, if you use them professional, like a doctor or a nurse, easy to translate. When it comes to lay translations, when you want to break it down for patients, of course, that's different. That's a big difference between lay medical Swedish and lay medical German is quite a big difference. Practice dictation and shadowing. I like that as well. Just like try to repeat what they say in the channels or in series. If sometimes we have it hard, like it's hard for us to pronounce, or sometimes you read, especially translators, we work with like a written language, and then you don't really know. I too don't really know how to pronounce that in English or so. So watch a series and terms you're like, oh, how do you say that? Pause, and then just try to repeat what they said. Yes, Doris.
Thank you. Well, actually, this shadowing technique is 101 for simultaneous interpreters. I don't know if you knew about that, but we practice shadowing in one of the first terms of simultaneous interpretation, and it helps a lot. Dictation practice also helps. I just shared a channel there. I don't know if you know it. It's called Youglish. It's an extension of YouTube. And what happens? There is a list. I don't know how many languages you can find, but there is a huge list. You go there, you write a word, and you have real people in real speeches pronouncing the word you need. Yes, it's not a machine, it's real people. And for instance, I use a lot in English. There is US pronunciation, UK pronunciation, and Australian pronunciation.
Wow.
As for Spanish, there is Latin American Spanish, Spanish, mainland Spanish. As for French, so you get real people in real, and they already give you the exact second and minute the people are pronouncing it in lectures or in interviews, and they give you the subtitles below the video for you to follow and listen and repeat. It's just amazing for pronunciation. When I'm studying for simultaneous conferences, simultaneous assignments, medical conferences or whatsoever, I use this channel all the time to check the pronunciation of the words that were given to me to study previously. It's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you have I have all the people who don't know us so well. Doris is like our talker, interpreter, and I'm like I like to write and read and make content, create content and stuff. And so I think we are a really good addition here. You have all your visual things, and I have the boring writing things, but I love it. So thank you again.
Anything to say? Does anyone want to have the mic to add anything, to change anything? Yay!
I would just add that I'm sometimes practicing. I'm not sure you like it, but I practice with ChatGPT, because when I pronounce the word, it can hear me and actually analyze how I pronounce it and give recommendations on which part to pay more attention to, because you listen, you repeat that, but you don't always repeat that correctly, because there is no such sound in your native language. So you keep practicing and it gives you recommendations.
Yeah, my godson
Amazing,
actually is trying to
Annie.
learn English, and he learns English with also with ChatGPT. And that's when I saw they were here in Sweden and visited us a few weeks ago. And that's when I saw the first time how ChatGPT works. And I never use it for that. But yeah, many people hate ChatGPT. It's not just bad. Don't rely too much on it, but it does have its pros as well, not just cons. Thank
I
you.
never test it with my actual job, but I always ask for recommendations, directions, and so on. And it's a nice thing to talk to because we are freelancers. We don't have people next to us all the time, unlike office workers. So having at least an AI companion is sometimes nice.
Oh,
Brilliant, Annie. Thanks for the tip.
Great. Anybody else who wants to add something? Some tips and tricks?
We're just rushing because we only have 20 minutes.
Well, I do, now that I have the paid version, it's not, we can keep it a little longer. So we're not in that a rush. But anyway, we all have stuff to do. So it's just 3 more things I'm just going through, which I want to tell you. Stedman's Medical Dictionary, IATE, I can just so recommend it. It's dictionaries with terms that are everywhere used. And if you, I bookmarked myself those pages as well, because it's just so helpful when you're stuck and you don't know, you don't understand the term or anything. Yeah, get to it. Also in my blog, they are hyperlinked, so you can just, click on the link. Your target language, master the language of your target audience. Of course, you think it's my target. It's my mother tongue. I can, but maybe not, because if I was asked to talk in German about technical stuff, I wouldn't know the terms. There are terms. I started horse riding, for example, here in Sweden. I know the Swedish terms, but not the German ones. So it's not that easy to know the target terms if you're not from the field, if you're not experienced in it. So you should not just focus on, for example, English publications or articles, but also on your target language and read articles there.
That happens a lot. Sorry to interrupt. That happens a lot because we focus so much on the language, on the B language, as we call in interpreting, that we end up neglecting our primary language, our A language, our mother language. Yes. And that happens a lot to translators as well. They tend to use English, for instance, so much. They dedicate themselves to English a lot that they end up neglecting their A language, their mother language. So I had to do that for a while. I had to stop watching content in my B and C languages and back to listening things in Portuguese because I was forgetting terms in my own language. So we need to have a balance there. Yeah. Thanks, Kathrin.
Absolutely. Yeah. Totally support that. Yes, Mariana.
Yes, and regarding that, if we translate into our native language, which is what the most of us do, I would assume, we need to understand that it's not only terminology, it's the way things are said. Especially if I'm talking to other healthcare professionals, they will say things in a specific way that will not be nearly as close to how they say it in English or in French and whatever language you work with. So talking to healthcare professionals in your native language is fundamental, because you can get all the terms right, but the tone is completely wrong and people find it super unnatural and weird.
That's a super good tip as well. Yeah, definitely. Also, when you read or when you translate regulatory material, it's less about a good language, more it's quite stiff, and sometimes the grammar is not as I would use it in a patient-faced, easy lay language contract thing. But if you like translate a contract, I sometimes stumble over this because I'm like, oh, I don't want to write it like this, but I know it's right to write it like this. It's just kind of a stiff language. And then, yeah, it's those nuances you have to know, right? Doris?
Thank you again. So yes, and that happens a lot more. It's even more difficult when you are an interpreter, because some medical, and there is the Plain Language Act. I don't know if you're aware of that. There is the Plain Language Act in the US. It's from 2010 that governmental institutions and public institutions in general, they must use plain language in writing, and now it's been applied in spoken language, because sometimes doctors or healthcare practitioners, they're gonna go like A&E, FBC, LDL, CRF, LA, PC, sort of that. I don't know them. I was just cheating here. And it's like, well, I know that, but the patient doesn't know that. Sometimes I don't know that. I suck at acronyms, and I failed an agency's test, OPI agency. I had flying colors in Portuguese. I had flying colors in Spanish, like doing the dialogue, flying colors in English. But then they gave me a list of acronyms to give the synonym, give the meaning. I was like, are you kidding me? I cannot use these acronyms with the patient. And then they said, well, it's a test, you failed. But then I said, okay, all right. So we must use plain language when talking to patients, when talking to immigrants and refugees, because our situation is, most of them, they are illiterate. They cannot even spell their own names. So imagine going to a medical appointment, being a very vulnerable person in a vulnerable situation. You can't even write your own name. You can't even read. And the professional needs to have, that's why interpreters are there as well, to break these barriers, yes, to make it comprehensive and understandable for the refugees and the immigrants. So yeah, Mariana, thank you so much for bringing this up. It's really, really important. And as Kathrin was saying, written language as a translator, medical translator, as you said, it's really stiff. It's like plastered, yes? But you're writing from one professional to another professional. But when you're writing to general public, when you're writing to patients, you need to use plain language. You need to break it down, make it smoother. Yes, because everybody has the right to understand it. Thank you.
Oh, that was a nice sentence. Everybody has the right to understand it. That's right. That's why I like to write for patient organizations like MS21. It's just nice to give the patient the feeling you are understood, and we want you to understand what we have to say, because only a patient who is well educated is a good patient, is compliant, is, yeah, just sticks also to the clinical trial rules. If they don't understand why, they won't do it. Just as easy as that. So thank you for your input. Yes, Eva.
I think as a nurse, for those are such a profession, it's very common to talk in patient language. And during rounds with the doctor tells them, and then they stop me and ask me, what did he tell me?
Exactly, I know.
Because they have no idea about what the doctor told them. So, but I understand everyone has not always experience close to the patient of us here. It's some of us, but not all of us.
That's true, yeah. And I hear you. I remember those situations so well. And then we had immigrant doctors who couldn't even speak the German language really well. So I was translating medical, half German, half other language, into plain German language for my patients, because they were just so confused. I'm like, yeah, I know, I get it. But then on the other hand, if you see it, isn't it amazing that we have that gift that we can understand that? I think it's really cool. I'm fascinated by language. I'm fascinated by medicine, and combining that is like, yeah, it's a dream come true. Yes, we should stay updated with medical advancements as well. I mean, we all know that probably, but just wanted to enhance the fact that medical language is changing just as any other language, and there is more terms coming to it. There is more, medications, drugs coming into the market. So we should all just keep reading. And in German, for example, to gender people is something that is, I don't know, 2 or 3 years now, really a must do, which hasn't been a thing 5 years ago. But now it has to be gendered. Texts have to be gendered. If you miss that, yeah, people won't be happy. Even though some of my clients don't want it. And I think in written language, I'm not a fan of gendering, because when you have PatientInnen, and it's always, it disturbs me when I read a text and you have like both genders spoken to. Anyway, that's the trend, so we have to do it, or at least ask client, how do you want to handle it? American Medical Writers Association, European Medical Writers Association, I can recommend them to follow them, even if you don't want to be a paid member. Just check their websites from now and then, every now and then, and you will find new information. And even if you're a translator and not a writer, you can still check them out and, yeah, just train your reading comprehension and stay on top. Conferences and workshops, I would love to join them way more than I do, but I know we all have travel expenses. It's time, it's money, but maybe you can join some online conferences as well, and then you will again bask in the language. Yes, and there is only one more point. Was there someone? Doris, yes.
It's me again. So,
totally fine.
As we talked previously in another session about how important it is to be active on LinkedIn, I get at least 3 free webinars a week regarding medical, pharmaceutical content in general. 3 for free a week, because I'm active. I go to that section where you have webinars, so it's there. It's amazing. At least 3 times a week I have a free webinar like ours. Yes, so go to the events section on LinkedIn. You will find lots of medical, pharmaceutical, etc. content there that is correlated to our areas. Yes, and you will find it for free. Yes, you just subscribe to it and then you go. Go, Mariana.
I think that one issue with translators as well is a lot of translators, especially the ones who are starting to specialize in medical translation, go in search for resources for translators. And I think this is an issue because resources are very scarce. I know there are a lot of resources in certain languages. For example, if you work with Spanish, the Spanish medical translator community is very active. But for Portugal, Portuguese from Portugal, which is my native language, is very hard to get these kinds of resources of trainings, etc., especially for translators. And I think that's a mistake.
I get them all in English. All the webinars I take part, I take in English. And then I use the content to translate into the language I work with, and Portuguese, Spanish, and French. But most content is in English. Yeah.
And not for translators, for the general public, for other for healthcare professionals, etc. Because the content is there. We just have to, do the work specifically.
Yes, sorry, I was just answering in the chat. Yes, that's true. I wondered that too while researching for this webinar on my blog, that there is not a lot of medical language training out there. Today, I just posted, I took a piece of my glossary and took out the German terms and I shared it so that you can take it and then translate it into your own language. Something like that, at least to have some start of a glossary. Maybe you guys have your own glossaries, but people who just start out, it's hard for them to find a way into a language, into a technical language. Let's just go through the last one, the technology we can use. CAT tools, I think we all know about CAT tools. Is there anyone who has questions to it or suggestions? Your favorite CAT tool, TM, what you like to use? That would actually give me the question. Do you guys have your own CAT tool license or do you only work with CAT tool licenses from your agencies or clients? Yes, Andrea?
A few years ago, I bought both Trados and MemoQ, but I just stopped updating the newer versions because all my clients offer licenses. So it seems that it's not a requirement anymore to have an own license. So most of the clients offer one.
Mariana has Trados Studio license. Yeah, I made the same the same experience actually. I had Phrase, and they are expensive, especially Trados is really expensive. And then I just started asking my clients, do you provide licenses? And then I just felt that like everybody provided licenses, and why would I need to pay for expensive CAT tool then? I mean, of course, you have your TM there and probably your own project management. That's good. But yeah, for now, I decided to go with this. Annie, what would you like to share?
Yeah, I mostly use SmartCat, which is a free tool. It has both a version with its automatic translations, machine translations, and also a paid version where you just buy a bunch of pages that you can translate with its help. And the second one is, of course, the confidential option, and I use both. Other than that, I never use Trados because I only get requests for about $200 of work per year, which is not which is much less than the license is. And I also get some work with MemoQ, and the agencies always provide the license. And there are a few other CAT tools like Phrase and one more, I don't even remember the last one's name. And those for those tools, they also provide licenses. So it's just Trados, and I would gladly give up the $200 worth of work because I can't pay twice or more just for the license.
Yeah. There was Eva was now. Thank you, Annie, for your.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I used to have a link with logins to a certain CAT tool to work the document through. So I don't. They are not sending me license or anything. Utan in the email I receive, there is a link. I click on that and I come to the document, and it can be MemoQ or Phrase or different type.
Yeah, that's the same way it works for me. I can't use the CAT tool licenses for anything else than the projects I get from the agencies.
Mm-hmm. And then the document is already in there, so you don't have to put it in there. And so.
I find that quite convenient.
Yeah,
Elena. Elena was
Yeah,
next. wasn't
sorry,
it?
I had the microphone.
No worries.
Many of my clients also recently started using cloud-based translation tools such as Phrase or SmartLink, or I work for a contract research organization which use WordB, which is another
Yeah.
one. And it's quite user friendly, and you have all the stuff already uploaded by the client. They create an account on the platform and you have access to it. And apart from it, I also have my own license for Trados, but recently I've been using it very few times because most of my clients provide license to MemoQ or these cloud-based platforms, and so I'm thinking about if it's worth renewing it next time, because it's quite it costs a lot renewing the Trados license.
Yeah, Trados. I thought about Trados, but then it was like, I don't know, 800 euros for a year. Like, okay, I can take that money and do a lot of courses for that money.
Yeah, of course.
Jennifer was next.
So I have Trados and MemoQ, but I no longer update Trados because now it's like a subscription, so I no longer use it. I'm happy with Trados. What I do not do is I don't use cloud-based services because I have made the experience that clients give you the work, then they kick you off the system, take your work, and you've got nothing to prove that you really did the work, and you have no way to get paid.
That's terrible.
So that's my experience, like with SmartCat, for example. So I would warn a bit about it. And it was like with clients that I knew that I worked for quite a while that just stole my work. So
Wow.
I would be like careful with that. So I'm quite happy with MemoQ at the moment. And that's just like my 2 cents for that. So
well, I never heard that, but thank you for sharing. That's
that's one. So if you have like with MemoQ, you get license from the client, you still have sort of something to download on your computer. But if you just have like SmartCat, it's purely online, or I was member, it's now Phrase. It's pure cloud-based, so you don't have it on your computer, and you can lose all your work and have issues proving you did it. So would be a bit careful.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Jennifer, for sharing. Mariana was next.
I actually work with Studio mostly because I bought the license when I was a student, and for students, the license is actually considerably, they have very good deals on it. And then I updated it 4 years later. I'm not sure if I'll ever update it anymore because of that, because the number of clients, I'm not sure. I want to direct more my work for direct clients, so I would need a tool. I'm studying MemoQ, but I'm still undecisive. I don't know if I'm going to keep up with Trados, because what I see that it gets more expensive, or it gets now subscription, but the quality it doesn't justify it. I think it's all the same.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I'm going to update it again. I have the 2022, I think. I'm not sure anymore right now. But yes, I have the 2022. I'm not sure if I'm going to ever update it.
Interesting that everybody here says the same. Annie, what are your thoughts?
Since Jennifer mentioned cloud-based platforms and payment issues related to them, I would love to mention the great experience I had with SmartCat, because I've been using it both as a freelance platform and as a CAT tool. It is both. So I have a lot of clients that came to me through SmartCat, and I've been using it for about 10 years now. And This year was the first time of a non-payment issue. A client never paid, and I wrote to SmartCat support, and they reimbursed me within a couple of months, but they reimbursed the full amount. So they take responsibility for such issues, which is, I think, amazing.
That's really good, Annie. Awesome. Jennifer, go ahead.
No. What I can add is like I had the issue that I signed up for SmartCat when they first started, and then because I only got a lot of like spam offers or whatever, I canceled it again, and then I had a client and I could not sign up again. It just didn't work because they said, "Well, we used your email address," and I refused to just create a new email address just for one place. So I got an access, like an email address from a client to use. So they just revoked my email address, which gave me no option and no way to really get my money. And we're talking about like €2,500, so it was quite a lot of money.
Do you want to share which client that was?
It is a Danish agency, and they are. My issue is I cannot prove anything.
Yeah.
Well, I can't do it because it's recorded.
You don't have to. You don't have to. I was just curious. I have to go. Hey, Mariana. Thank you, Mariana, for being and contributing. It was great to have you here. Hopefully, we see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you, Mariana. Thank you so much for being here.
Bye.
Thank you, really.
Definitely a lot of interesting things here, Jennifer. You should probably write a post about that. And what I think maybe we should make a screenshot of the project itself, where our email or something is written that we can prove that we got this project. That is something that comes up right now. Maybe anybody else will have ideas how to make sure that doesn't happen. I mean, €2,500, that's a lot of money. And I'm sorry you experienced that, Jennifer. Well, we can keep thinking about it, and you guys can also share ideas how to prevent that on MedTalks. I think you all have seen that text now for a while, and the only thing I want to enhance again is ChatGPT. It's, as I said before, not just a bad tool that will take our jobs away. I don't believe in that anyway. I think we are safe. ChatGPT is my assistant. For me, ChatGPT is my, it's my secretary who does all the things I don't want to do, like writing lists and stuff. And so use it wisely, make your lists, make your business plans, go into discussions with him and do some brainstorming. That helps a lot. Even just talking about him, about medical issues, helps you also to get more terms into your vocabulary. Connect with peers on social media, follow them. I have been sharing a lot of interesting pharmaceutical articles the last week, and I will keep doing this because I think that's one of the best ways to learn what is going on in the market and to learn about language itself. Then I would say thank you for being here today, and give you another chance to share your thoughts if you want. Otherwise,
have any final thoughts? It's the time now. Go, Andrea.
I just want to thank you for this topic. Although I am experienced, it was very useful because people keep asking me how to learn what I do, and I can't answer them since I don't know how I got here. I mean, I had clients who gave me feedback and I learned, but I didn't have a learning curve, a standard learning curve. I have a BA in general translation. So I got involved in a medical field on my own, and thanks to clients and a mentor. So it was really useful to know what to say to other people where they can learn.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had the same experience. I was asked and I was like, I don't know, I just do it. But thinking about it educates yourself as well. Like writing the blog post, I learned so many things, and so many pages as well, like the EMA writing, European Writing Associations. And so I learned a lot while researching for that. So thank you for the feedback. Good to know.
I think that we all know that the best way, like for learning, it's getting hands-on. Yes, we do have the theoretical side and self learning side and passive learning through reading and watching and listening. But I think we do learn when we are there in the field, like doing it, practicing it. And we're only humans, and it's like trial and error. And as people say, we are as good as our last assignment. Yes. And the next one will be better because we learn from our mistakes, and we are constantly learning through all these ways we have shared today is also the key. Yes, we can never say, oh, I know enough. We can never be comfortable. Yes, we have to keep learning, keep studying, and hands-on all the time. Yeah.
Such a nice sentence to close this meeting. I will stop recording now.
Yes.
And,
if you could turn on your cameras, the recording will stop. If you could turn on your cameras, that's so Kathrin can take a picture of us for us to post on our LinkedIn group.
That would be beautiful. Are you all
Have you stopped the recording yet?
Oh, no. Now I did.